Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Angie's Angles. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Angie's Angles. It is August the 7th in the year of my Lord, 2025, coming to you live from Smoke Therapy, 215 Ronkonkoma Avenue, Ronkonkoma, New York. Harold, what's going on, my friend? Thanks for signing up and logging on, my friend. All right, we have a hot night in store for everybody on Angie's Angles. But before I go on my tirade about the New York Pirates, Nick Triano, what's going on, champ? How are you? Yeah, we're going to be facing the Milwaukee Brewers, and that's going to be no easy task, as one Harold Sanderson could tell you, my friend. We could easily get swept in Milwaukee, that's for sure. Harold Atkins, what's up, pal? Hope you're doing well, my friend. So, Pete Alonso's quest to become the all-time franchise leader in home runs for the New York Metropolitans. So I dug in and did some research, and we're going to go through the National League East. My brother from another, Mark Brooks, what's going on? So obviously we'll start with the New York Metropolitans. Pete Alonso's one home run away from tying Darryl Strawberry, and will easily by the next week or so take over the entire lead for home runs as a New York Met ball player. So the numbers I'm going to give you are strictly home runs hit by that franchise player. So, i.e. Dave Kingman, came 26 home runs shy of 500. I think his magic number was 474 when he finished, but he hit them for multiple teams. So he's not in the top three. But let's go through the list because I have a lot to digest with the New York Mets tonight and a little comment about Facebook and some of the groups I belong to. So Darryl Strawberry, as we all know, leads the Mets home run franchise player with 252, followed by Pete Alonso. And not surprisingly, David Wright sits at 242 on the all-time home run list. However, here's a little trivia caveat, if you will. Out of the 5 teams in the National League East, we're talking about the Mets, the Braves, the Phillies, the Expos, Nats, and the Marlins. The Mets sit 5th, last in home run franchise player numbers. It's very interesting. I found that to be a little interesting that the Mets have been in existence for what now? 53 years, 1962 to 25. And they sit last. So they haven't really had a prodigious home run hitter in the history of their franchise, other than the top 3 of Strawberry, Alonso, and Wright. And I wouldn't call Wright a prodigious home run hitter. I certainly call Pete a prodigious home run hitter because he's done it in 6 seasons. So, and Strawberry did it in 8, I believe it was. So the team that's in 4th place, and we'll go in chronological order, bottom to top, are obviously the Miami Marlins, where 1-1 Carlos Stanton, or Mike Stanton as he was known back in the day, sits atop the Marlins franchise with 267 home runs hit. Now, Pete's going to obviously surpass that by the end of this year, most definitely. He'll need what? He'll need 18 more home runs for the rest of the season to do that. Might be a little dicey, but I don't think it's out of his reach. Sitting second for the Marlins, and it's a substantial drop, sits Dan Uggla with 154, followed by one Hansley Ramirez at 148. Third in the franchise home run leaders is the Expos / Nats. And this one caught me up by surprise. Ryan Zimmerman leads that franchise with 284 home runs, followed by Vlad Guerrero at 234 and Andre Dawson at 225. Now, Vlad and Andre would have probably been my 1 and 2 guesses, not taking into account for Zimmerman. But Zimmerman in his career with the Nats and the Expos hit 284. That's followed by Mike Schmidt, and this one's pretty impressive. Mike Schmidt played, obviously, his entire career with the Philadelphia Phillies, and he sits at 548 home runs hit as a Philly. Followed by Ryan Howard at 382. And Del Ennis. Del who? Del Ennis. I mean, you'd have to be a hardcore baseball player to recognize who Del Ennis was, but he sits at 259. And of course, at the leaderboard, at the top of the plate, is the absolute, in my humble opinion, all-time home run king, one Henry Hammerin Hank Aaron at 733. He's followed by Eddie Matthews, 493, and then the Met killer, Chipper Jones, sits at 468. So a little interesting thing. I think I'll do this every week as we keep track of Pete and his quest to become the all-time home run leader for the New York Metropolitans. Next week we'll probably tackle either the West or the Central for the National League. Then we'll jump over into the American League, into the junior circuit. So, hey, John Belvedere, thanks for dialing it up from the lobby. I appreciate you. Brandon Klinger, my friend, God bless you, buddy. Eric Schuster, I think it's time to get off the Trevor Bauer bandwagon. That guy will never pitch another day in the States as long as he lives, unless he picks up the game of softball and pitches for the king in his court, if you know what I mean. So that brings me to this Facebook issue that I'm having, as well as a couple of conversations I've had with some admins and some group members in various Met baseball groups I belong to on Facebook. Obviously, my headline today is Mets out of the wild card contention ? Now, for you that read the comments, and maybe we'll go through it, that seems like a good segue. So here's how the New York Mets postseason chances look based on recent data. Current playoff odds, Baseball Reference simulations as of August 6th and 7th. Based on recent standings, the Mets have an estimated chance of 62.2% chance to make the playoffs, with a 44.1% chance to win the NL East and an 18.1% chance as a wild card. You know, that's damning statistics, if you ask me. The Mets sit right now currently in third place, the third and last spot for the wild card. And listen, I've got a side bet going on with my buddy Kevin Elliott down in Hollywood, Florida, that if the Marlins produce 70 wins, he owes me a couple of shekels. And they're not that far behind the 70 win pace. I think they have to go 14-35 to achieve that. And I can't see them not winning 14 more games. So that's interesting. Where am I here on my thing? Give me a second. So they got a 0.7% to make the postseason, including a 58.6% chance to win the division, 37.3%, and to get a wild card bye. So, you know, it's not really looking all that great for the Mets. So BetMGM odds suggest odds of a minus 3,000, translating to an implied probability of 96.8 to make the playoffs. Now, I think that's a little crazy, 98.8% or whatever. The way that the Mets are playing right now, and this is where I run into a little trouble with some of the guys in my groups. They're calling me a troll. They're calling me a Debbie Downer. They're calling me a negative Nelly. Whatever adjective you want to put in front of the name that you call me. But I'm calling a spade by a spade. I see what I see. Optics don't deceive my eyes. These guys, these Mets, do we know that Francisco Lindor is tied with the most errors for a shortstop in the National League? He's tied for the most errors. He's got 12 errors. Now, granted, he's played 107 games. He's played the most games as a shortstop in the National League. So I won't take that away from him and his durability. But as a shortstop that's getting $300 and change million over the course of his contract, You can't be making error after error after error. He sits at, I think it was a 967 percentage, which is abysmal. He ranks 25th out of the shortstops out of 30, right? So that's got to tell you something. That's got to tell you what kind of defensive year that he's not having. He's not having a very good defensive year. Alvarez the other night flipping the ball to the pitcher to cover home. I don't know where he was throwing it. Batty throwing it to right field. Alonso still experiencing trouble soft lobbing the ball to the covering pitcher. I mean, where is Carlos Mendoza? Who is Carlos Mendoza? Where is he on the off days? Where is he on the night games demanding they show up at 10 in the morning and practice these drills, for God's sakes? These guys should be having cardboard cutouts at the bases and throwing at the glove. I used to coach Little League, and I would stand there and not move my glove and have the kids throw the ball to the glove, not to me, not to the base, to the glove. You have to teach the idiot muscle reflexes on your body. It has to learn how to throw the ball. And from what I'm seeing lately, they lack that skill. And speaking about being angry, we don't have one, but we have two hitting coaches. I call them the two-headed monster. You all know about my hang-up about Brandon Nimmo. And Brandon Nimmo is certainly not worth the 8-year, $20 million contract he signed. We're going to regret that contract, and we might even be regretting it this year. He's looking at strikes right down the middle of the plate. I think he's trying to channel Juan Soto to get on base via the walk, and it's not working for one Brandon Nimmo. Speaking about Juan Soto, please go back, watch my podcast. It's completely vetted. You cannot argue what I'm about to say. But I was number one guy against signing Juan Soto for that money. Now, agreed, he was going to get that money from somebody. And the Yankees offered a couple shekels less. The Red Sox, I think, I understand, offered maybe a tad bit more. But he wanted to stay in New York and with his fan base. But he is not produced at any caliber for the salary we were paying him. And when, my friend Brett Miletto will bring up that, what do you mean we, Ange? Do you own the Mets? You don't own the Mets. You don't know anything about the finances, blah, blah, blah. I could hear him ad nauseum giving me a lecture. But it is we, because us, the fans, are the ones that suffer. And Brett, with all due respect, you did open my eyes to the financial end of baseball. He said to me, Steve Cohen, right about Father's Day, breaks even. And whatever he makes after Father's Day is gravy. And he's probably not wrong about that. But at the same token, it's my hard-earned dollars that is taking time to do this podcast. I invest time and energy, some money with some of the in-game studio apparatus I have. I spend money streaming MLB, because now SNY is only available through MLB out of my house. Paying the cable bill for the SNY network, going to the games, buying the jerseys, buying the hats, etc., etc., etc. Okay, so yes, we are involved with the success and or failure of the New York Metropolitans. And me especially. I've been called the anti-Met by some of these guys and ladies in these Facebook groups. I am not the anti-Met. Last year, I originated the word the New York Pyrites, because they're fool's gold. They taunt you. They lead you into thinking you have something magical, something worthwhile, something incredible in front of you, and then they drop the bomb and you scratch the surface of the element, and you find fool's gold underneath. Sure, we got to the series before the World Series, and if our pitching held up, we certainly could have beaten the Dodgers, and I think we would have manhandled the Skankies, but that's a story for another day. Luck had a lot to do with the Mets last year. They came back from some astronomical deficits. The balls bounced this way and that. The balls are not doing it this year. And we almost got no hit by the Cleveland Indians the other night. Now, I'm not taking anything away from the pitcher. He's having a pretty solid year. But we're supposed to be a potent offense. And the fact that Juan Soto hit a ball that barely squeaked over the fence, and as a matter of fact, there was doubt whether it was a home run or not at first, speaks volumes of our ineptitude with our bats. And when do we take that moment? When do we take that moment and evaluate the coaching staff? Now, I'm either Steve Cohen or David Stearns, and I'm having a conversation, and they say, okay, our offense is putrid, and putrid's being kind. The hitting coaches got to go. They're not working. Whether they've got different philosophies, and one half of the clubhouse listens to Barnes and the other half listens to Chavez, I don't know. But it's not gelling. It's not working. Soto's been looking at strikes too right down the middle. I mean, I don't know if he's trying to pad his putrid 249 batting average. And I called this. We're not that far removed from 2022 when he put up a 249 batting average, 27 home runs, and about 63 RBIs. Yes, between two teams, the Nats and the Padres. But once he got to San Diego, that was supposed to be his utopia, and it didn't work out well, did it? So I don't want to hear that he's got pressure. I don't want to hear he's got this. He's not the guy that we thought we were getting. And I'll throw we into it because, like I said, I'm part ownership of the New York Mets, right? I belong to the New York Mets franchise as a fan, as someone that promotes them on my podcast. But I'll ride them when they're well, and I'll deride them when they're not well. And that's a fact. Okay. I'm not going to sugarcoat their injuries or the pitching staff. And let's talk about the pitching staff if we can for a minute. I, for one, was not happy with our pitching staff going into the beginning of the season. Senga's coming off an injury year. And while, yes, the first half of the season was outstanding, if not Cy Young voting eligible and potentially in the mix for it. But now, he had the hamstring pull because of Pete's ineffective lobbing it to first base to the pitcher's covering. So through an intangible result, Alonso was directly responsible for his injury. But it's not the first time that Senga came up with leg issues, right? So what does that mean about the medical staff? Are we stretching right? Are we doing proper things right? The pitching staff has come back to earth, burning like the Percy's meteor shower that's going to be happening next week, Tuesday and Wednesday. For those that are local, I'll be going to Cedar Beach here on Long Island to watch the show, weather permitting. But the offense, Vientos, while starting to hit recently, has disappeared. Beatty shows periodic blasts of stardom, but he's not doing well. Nimmo's disappeared. Lindor's disappeared. Soto's disappeared. Alonso's got a better average than Lindor and Soto, and who had that on their bingo card to start the season? For God's sakes. I mean, we wouldn't have thumped that, right? Because Pete's a 259, 255 career batting average guy, where the other two are not. So things are not going well for the New York Mets. I mean, the no-hit game, the one hitter that the Indians did on us, we had Nimmo again batting fourth. So you get Nimmo, who's like, oh, for freaking 3,000 in his last 20 games, batting fourth behind Alonso, who's going to be afraid not to pitch to Alonso to pitch to Nimmo? Nobody. My grandmother could get Nimmo out at this point of his production so far. Alvarez has spit the bit. Alvarez, he's lost. He's absolutely lost, and I don't have the answers. But I do know this: they would be doing a lot of tee work in the batting cage if I was the batting coach. We would be doing a lot of things. We'd fix a lot of hitches. We'd fix a lot of swings. The pitch selection that they're choosing to swing at is poor, abysmal at best, if you ask me. They're swinging at balls that are high over their heads or down at their ankles. And I give credit to Alonso. He's not really going for that outside sweeper this year all that much. He'll have a couple of games where he looks funky, but then he auto-corrects and comes back the next game. So I'm not really sure what the true answer is, other than you have to shake it up. You need to bring in a hitting guru, an aggressive style batting coach. Harold Atkins, I can't disagree. We need a Lou Piniella type that will hold the players accountable regardless of the salaries. You missed a fundamental play, we would do it 50 times the next day until you get it right. No excuses. I totally agree with that, Harold. West Coast Dave Prince wants to add something. It's still early August. There's still time for the team to coalesce. Well, West Coast, it's August the 7th, my friend, and we're now looking at perhaps 3.5 games behind the Filthies. With the Brewers coming this weekend, or rather, we are going there. And if the Brewers stay hot as they are, or if we take 1 out of 3, we're really not helping ourselves. We need to produce a 7-8 game winning streak, maybe 7-1, maybe 6-2, and I'll take it. We can't go any less than that to reestablish ourselves at the top of the standings and cement ourselves in that wild card spot. It's very important for the New York Metropolitans to right this ship. Now, I am not calling for Mendoza's head today, but let's call it, let's give him 14 days. Let's say August 21st. If we're still in the doldrums of August, he's got to go. I don't care if he's got 1 or 2 years left on his contract. He has to go. He just has to go. Because we're seeing the same mistakes day in and day out. They're not being corrected. And he's running the same players back out there to fix themselves. And they're not fixing themselves. I love seeing Pete on the bench as the DH the other night. But Vientos couldn't catch a foul ball pop-up playing first base. Well, if you're not capable of doing that, you don't belong at first base. That's just me talking out loud. Mark Brooks wants us to put Marte in left. I think Marte's legs are worse than Nimmo's, Mark. And Marte also another guy that while I think he's still got power and hits left in his bat, it looks like he don't care. You ever see him up at the plate? Looks like he don't care. They're not aggressive. They don't have the fire. They don't have the fire that Angie's Angles brings every week, every Thursday religiously. Okay? They don't have the fire. I'm starting my 5th year of Angie's Angles, and I've missed 3 podcasts. 3 in 5 years. West Coast Day Prince, Pete Alonso will get hot. Well, Pete Alonso's notorious for running into deep, long, prolonged slumps and then breaking it out with an 8 to 10 to 12 home run, 15-game run. But if Pete gets hot, West Coast, and Lindor, Soto, Nimmo aren't on base, they're kind of like David Wright home runs. You get all the solo home runs you want to hit, and that doesn't guarantee you winning the ball game. Let's call a spade a spade. So I'm interested to see how my podcast is received on Facebook and these various groups that are calling me Debbie Down. They say I've lost the faith. I'm a front runner. I'm a fair weather fan. That's all false. I will laud their accomplishments until the end of days, but I will hold them accountable when they fail to live up to my expectations as a huge fan of theirs. I think that's just justified. I don't see what's wrong with that. I mean, sure, you could all live with rose-colored glasses and think that, every game you're watching, it's the World Series games with the New York Mets in it. No, that's not accurate. This team needs a spark. They need somebody to step up and take. Lindor's a nice guy. I don't know him personally, but he comes across in everything you read, family man, the whole 9 yards. Lose the smile, please. Lose the smile. When I played ball, this was a known fact about Ange. The opposing team hated me. I was the number one hated player on my team. But they would have loved me on their team. If I was on their team, I would have been a valued teammate. Because I give it all. I leave nothing between the lines. And these guys, I don't think they're bringing it onto the field. I think they're complacent. I think they're okay. They feel okay. I feel like they look at the standings. Oh, we're still okay. We're still okay. Harold, I think you just said it more eloquently than me. Win or lose, all we want is 100% effort. Make us believe anything can happen. Facts. Now, these last couple of games where we staged the 7th inning comebacks, tied the game, and then we can't get a fly ball from Lindor or Soto or Alonso. I mean, I was watching the game when Alonso had the bases loaded, an opportunity to kill the game. And my buddy goes, wouldn't that be amazing if he hit a grand slam to tie Darryl Strawberry? That would have happened last year. So the mojo's left us. The Lucky Charms is on the Cheerios box. Okay? We're not getting it done. We're not getting the breaks. We're not getting the hops. We're not getting the timely hit when we need it. It's all absent from this year's New York Mets. Now, consider us fortunate that we got out to such an amazing lead that we did in the beginning of the season. And our pitching was outstanding. But Clay Holmes has never pitched. This is the most innings Clay Holmes pitched in his life. Peterson's starting to wilt. Manaea spit the bit the other night, although he's had a good season so far in the limited games. Senga's been throwing the beanballs. Montas will be flashes of brilliance and then look like, the next coming of Joe Schmo. Hey, Terry, thanks for joining us. I appreciate it. Thanks, West Coast. I appreciate you. All right, I ran a little long-winded with my analysis of the current situation in the New York Metropolitans, or as I like to refer to them at the moment as the New York Pirates. Don't pay any attention to Mount Everest on top of my head. After all, I am an old man. Our prayer circle this week goes as follows. Harold Atkins, we're praying for you, my friend, as you had oral surgery the other day and you're recovering well. Terry Sanchez, we're praying for your mom's legs and keeping in our memories your mother-in-law and your uncle's memory. Antoinette Brooks, we're praying for your brother Mike, who is in need of a kidney. We pray that he finds a match or a donor. And your sister-in-law, who is also in a bad accident. Our good friend here, Lynn and Kristen here in Smoke Therapy, new members to our lounge. We're praying for Ashton Ace Vargas. He's a baby who was just born recently, and they need a prayer. Ben and Haley are Ashton's parents, and the running tests on Ashton and his dicey. They're not certain that Ashton's gonna make it. So we need to hit our knees hard for little Ashton, please. Clark, we're praying for your son Colin and soon-to-be wife Christina. Congratulations Saturday on the wedding, my friend. Pass around those cigars with pride. Linda Stein, she wants us to send out a humanity prayer to all the people on earth. She wants peace and prosperity. But we're also going to pray for herself and her dad. Scott Tobias, we're praying for your wife and your mom, my friend. Mark Brooks, my brother from another, we're praying for you, sir, that you remain vertical. Kevin Elliott, Kevin Linux, we're praying for your health. The Krause family, we're praying for you guys as Aubrey remains in remission. Devin Lee down in Maryland, we're praying for Lee and good results for him. Marianne Bello out in Las Vegas, we're praying for your mom and yourself, young lady. Larry Levy, prayers out to your wife Frida as she also remains in remission. Mr. McGowan, sir, we continue to have your six. Stay tuned for Mr. McGowan podcast. Ralphie, we're praying for your continued healing, my friend. Pete and Shani down in Florida, we're praying for you and your family. And today is heavenly birthday of my father-in-law, Daniel Caparuso, Barbara's dad, who left us 2 years ago. If there was one thing I could say about him is that nobody became in front or before his family. And he left an indelible mark on myself. There was not a piece of furniture, a building, a problem he couldn't solve or build or do or fix. Truly, I was truly blessed to have him as my father-in-law, and we miss you. And we're praying that you have a happy heavenly birthday. I'm sure my mom and dad are there to give you hugs and kisses and celebrate with you, as well as all those that have passed before you. So that's our prayer circle for this week. It's been Angie's Angles. I can't wait to get on Facebook and jump on it to find out, how I was either well received or mocked. I'm not really sure which way we're going to go with this. It's been Angie's Angles, come to you live from Smoke Therapy, 215 Ronkonkoma Avenue, Ronkonkoma, New York. Oh, wait, somebody's asking a question. Oh, Terry, let's put you up. Terry, I did not say, and let's give Terry her 15 seconds of fame. So we have the first ever female umpire in Major League Baseball is debuting. We wish her nothing but the best. Baseball, by all the other sports, are decades behind getting a female into the umpire rotation. We are the last major sport to do so. So shame on us and shame on Major League Baseball. But for everything I read about her, she's a tough cookie and a fair umpire. She knows the rules. She knows the nuances of the game. So it'll be interesting to watch her and see kind of the reaction she gets from coaches, managers, and players. So good night. God bless. I love you.